What's the story? Morning glory. What's the word? Hummingbirds. Thank you so much for joining me again for another review of Porsha's Family Matters. Guess who's coming to dinner? So we will start off with Lauren and Porsha. They meet up together, and Lauren tells Porsha about her meeting with Dennis, and she tells Porsha that she allowed Dennis to bring a date to Porsha's birthday barbecue. Porsha acted like she wasn't really happy about that because she said something about, how is it going to be? I'm not going to let some random woman come to my home, sit at my table, and eat with me and my man. And when she said my man, Lauren thought that she was referring to Dennis. Like she accidentally was referring to Dennis. I think as we all probably thought. And then she was like, no, I didn't mean my man, or I meant my man, Simon, not Dennis, or whatever the hell she said. So Lauren was like, you still have feelings for Dennis, because everybody thinks that Porsha and Dennis still have feelings for each other. And then Porsha, she does this thing. She says something about, not wanting a stranger around her daughter. But I'm thinking, okay, but Simon was practically a stranger when you allowed him around PJ. So what's the difference with, Dennis bringing some random to your barbecue and that person being around your daughter? Either way, it just doesn't make any sense to me when people say things like, well, I don't want, so-and-so around my child. I don't want you bringing some strange woman or some strange man around my child. Yeah, they're going to be strange at first, but then they're going to get to know them, if the relationship is really going to take off. So Porsha, it don't got nothing to do with some strange woman being around your daughter. You just don't want another woman around your man, Dennis. That's what it is. So then, Lauren suggests that they all go on some kind of a retreat, because, Porsha's been through a lot with social media attacking her. Lauren's been through a lot, with her on again, off again relationship with some dude named Nate. So apparently Lauren has been having a relationship with somebody named Nate, and Porsha does not care for him because every single time there's a problem with her relationship, Lauren runs to Porsha and tells Porsha about it. And of course that turns Porsha off because it sounds like this person is mistreating her sister. And then when things are good again or whatever, then Lauren's upset that Porsha can't accept him. So, Lauren says that she's broken up with Nate and she's still trying to get through her breakup, and she doesn't like it when every single time she brings up Nate, Porsha somehow makes it about her because, Porsha was saying that she doesn't want to be around Nate, and, Lauren is like, hey, I'm still dealing with whatever I'm dealing with Nate, whatever. So, Porsha apologizes to her sister. They kiss and they make up. And, it just goes to show again, sometimes it's not good to always tell your family about your issues with your mate, especially when you're not sure if it's really over between you and that person, because when you go back to that person, then your whole family's looking at you side eye like, you want us to accept him after all the stuff that you told us about that person. Now we're supposed to welcome them back with open arms. Yeah, I don't think so. So, if you're going through stuff with your significant other and you're not sure if that relationship is permanently over, keep that stuff to yourself. Or hopefully you have friends that you can talk to that are a little bit more understanding about the ups and downs of relationships. So Dennis and his mom take PJ on a shopping spree, and they both talk about Porsha and Simon moving too fast. Dennis had commented on one of Porsha's pictures that, she was looking so fine, he forgot that she was still married. And ever since then, his phone had been completely blowing up. People had been blowing him up. And his mom was like, do you think that was the best thing that you could have said? Was that a really good decision that you made, posting that or, making that comment on her picture? And then the mom says it makes it look like you're still interested in her. And, he probably is. That's the mother of his child. She's a very beautiful woman. That was once his, fiance. So it's pretty obvious that Dennis still probably has very strong feelings towards Porsha. And they also talk about the tension between Porsha and Miss Gina, Dennis's mom. They really haven't been seeing eye to eye on a lot of things because they have their own opinion on exactly what happened with Dennis and Porsha's relationship. So we're on to Porsha's birthday barbecue. we get to meet more of her family. We meet her grandmother, Iona, her aunt Darlene, her cousin, I forgot what her cousin's name is. Her cousin's there. So, like we see a whole array of relatives. Simon shows up at the house and, he says hi to everybody. And it seems, really comfortable. It didn't seem that awkward. Well, to me, it didn't seem that awkward when he was meeting everybody. Everything seemed pretty easygoing. Simon is such he's so chill. He's so easygoing. He's so, go with the flow. And upstairs, Porsha is getting ready, and her sister's helping her get ready. And then Lauren tells her, well, I got you a birthday present. And her birthday present to her sister is a session with Lauren's spiritual healer. I don't know the spiritual healer's name, but yeah, Lauren is on this yoga, meditation, spiritual healing kick. She no longer works with Porsha. She's no longer Porsha's assistant. They don't do business together at all, except they're both still partners in the Naked Hair company. So Porsha was like, well, what made you think to give me that as a gift? And Lauren says, well, you've been going through a lot. And this woman, she really focuses on feminine divine power. And then they talk about their cousin Londi losing her father and how this retreat would be good for her as well. Back downstairs, Esther, a family friend on Porsha's mother's side, says to Simon, so Simon, are you going to keep this wife? Referring to Porsha, because I know that Nigerian men, tend to have multiple wives. And Simon says, you know what? No, that's not me. I'm a one man, one wife kind of guy. So he's not into that whole polygamy thing and having multiple wives, which is a very good thing. Because I was kind of worried about that, because the last time Simon and Porsha talked about that, I wasn't clear on where he stood, but him saying this in this episode, okay, now I feel a little bit more comfortable. So Lauren and Lundy are talking about Lauren's meeting with Dennis and how that went. And Lauren tells cousin Lundy that, how it is with Porsha. Dennis is really concerned that they're moving too fast. And, he was asking me, what was I going to do about it? Or why didn't I tell Porsha to slow down? And Lauren says, Porsha is going to do what she's going to do. And if you get in her way, she's just not going to talk to you anymore. And then in her confessional, Lauren says that Porsha is surrounded by a lot of yes men. And a lot of the people that she surrounds herself with are people that are employed by her. So if they want to continue getting a check, they have to basically go along with whatever Porsha wants. So she really doesn't have anyone to tell her any different from what she wants to do. She doesn't have anyone who's going to stand up and say, Porsha, this is wrong. Don't do it. So then Lauren, okay, so we talked about that, Lauren in her confessional. And so moving on, Londi thinks that Lauren is pretty messy for telling Dennis that he can come over and bring a date. And I'm like, Londi, why is that messy? They've both moved on. So he should never ever date anyone, or if he does date someone, that person can never come with him to any social or family function. Why is that messy for him to bring a date? Unless, Londi, you also believe that Porsha is not over Dennis and she would be jealous to see her man with another woman. Maybe that's why you think it's messy, Londi. So Storm, yes, that was the one. Storm is the daughter of Porsha's Aunt Darlene. She is Porsha's cousin, and she was also there at the barbecue. And the way that so they were all sitting at the table eating, and Storm, the way she was looking at Simon when Simon was talking about his culture, I think he was talking about his culture. I mean, she had her head on her hand like this, and she was just she looked like she was just so enthralled with this whole with Simon and his culture and what he represented. Like she wanted to hurry up and go to Nigeria and get her Nigerian man or something. That's how I saw it. And so they talked about, someone has said something about, okay, so Porsha, this is your second marriage, and Simon, you've been married before. And Porsha said, I'm actually going to be his fourth wife. And Porsha's grandmother was like, oh my God. So he's been married 3 times previously, and he had to go to therapy. And Simon learned through therapy that his issue with marrying, so many women was he was a rescuer. He felt like he had to rescue this women. And so he had to realize that it wasn't his job anymore to rescue people. And I guess he also said something about he doesn't feel the need to rescue Porsha. So this relationship is different from his previous relationships. Dennis shows up, and his date is Miss Pilar, little PJ. He shows up with Pilar and then with his mom. He didn't bring some random woman, so I'm pretty sure Porsha, sighed she was like, thank God. And so Dennis and Simon, they greet each other, they hug each other, and I thought that was really beautiful. And then Londi says that in her confessional, she says that the family feels really optimistic about Simon because Dennis had done some really shady things. And obviously she's referring to Dennis's infidelity and or possibly involvement with some animals. All the attention is given to Simon at the barbecue. Someone has said that, maybe Dennis feels kind of left out because everyone is like still sort of like in that moment of curiosity about Simon, asking him a whole bunch of questions. So he's like the center of attention, and Dennis is kind of like off in the background somewhere. It gets really emotional for Porsha's mom, for her aunt, and also for Dennis's mom when they're talking about the love that Simon and Porsha have for each other, and how everyone is hoping that this is gonna work out really well for them. And the grandmother. Oh, and also they talked about, how beautiful it is that I guess that they can have this blended family with Dennis and PJ and, all this and that. So it was a really beautiful moment. So a couple of people got emotional. And then the grandmother, Portia's grandmother, says something like, she also has a son. And she goes, I had a son who was a big time womanizer. He's like a big time ladies man, just like Dennis over there. And so when she said that, Miss Gina and Dennis were like, excuse me, what'd you say? And so the grandmother stood up and says, I don't really mean that in a bad way, Simon, but, I also have a son, who was a womanizer. And the mother, Miss Gina, Dennis's mom, she was like, wait a minute, my son is not a womanizer. He's not a playboy. He's not a womanizer. And then in her confessional, she says that in a way, Simon is worse than Dennis because Simon is a married man and he's out here engaged to a whole nother woman. So he's basically cheating on his wife and he's cheating in the eyes of the Lord. So yeah, I think Simon's a lot worse than Dennis. So then Dennis makes a toast to Simon and Porsha, and he's like, I got nothing but love for y'all, and, he says a whole bunch of positive things about the relationship. So later on, Portia's supposed to meet with Dennis. So the producer asks Porsha in her confessional, is this the first time that you've met with Dennis alone since your engagement? And for some reason, Portia's like, I don't really know how to answer that question. I'm like, what are you talking about? Either it is or it isn't, Porsha. And so they meet at Fogo de Chao for dinner, and she's wearing a dress that Dennis had bought her, and it was like a very loosey-goosey kind of dress because she didn't want to be too sexy for him, show off all her curves. So it was like a very flowy, loosey type of dress, and, it was very modest. It covered her up from head to toe. So Dennis says that he's publicly supportive of Portia's relationship, but privately, he's kind of, conflicted. He's like, this is some crazy stuff going on, and, he expresses his concern about their moving just way too fast. And then he says something about how they broke up him and Porsha broke up in, did he say January? And Porsha was like, no, we did not just break up in January. We broke up in December. I guess she's trying to create, more time between when they broke up and when she started seeing Simon. And it's like, you're basically arguing just a few days, Porsha. Either way, you know damn well, stop acting foolish. You know damn well that you moved too fast with that man. He's not even divorced yet. You just broke up with Dennis and now you're engaged. Just admit it. Yes, we moved fast. Stop trying to, oh no, we broke up in December. We broke up December 31st, not January 1st. So don't say we broke up in January. Girl, whatever. So Simon is still surprised that Porsha is still mad about him cheating. He was actually shocked about that. And Porsha was like, what are you talking about? You cheated on me. Our relationship ended because you were unfaithful. And if you were not unfaithful, we would still be together. So what you want me to do about it? Yeah, and I'm still hurt about it, and I'm still mad about it. And so Simon says, we got love for each other. Stop it. We love each other. And then Porsha was like, what do you mean we still love each other? Do you mean like we love, kissy love, or we love each other like a family? And Simon's like, I'm not going to go back and forth with you. So, I feel like Porsha definitely still has feelings for Dennis, because everybody keeps saying over and over again that when Porsha loves, she loves hard. And if you love hard, excuse me, and if you love hard, can you stop loving that easily? If you're the kind of person like you go all in, you give it your all, you give 1,000% into somebody, can you just break away in a couple of days and move on to someone else like that? And so then Porsha tells Simon that, evidently they need more healing. This she shouldn't think that, however she feels, she can't think that Dennis is like over it just like that. So she's like, Dennis probably needs more time to get over our relationship. And then she meets with Lauren and her shaman. First, she was a spiritual healer. Then she's like a yoga instructor. Now they're referring to this woman as a shaman. So this is her session, I guess, that Lauren had gifted to Porsha, is to have this meeting with this shaman woman. And it's very exactly what you would think, I don't know what you call, very earthy, very holistic, natural. I think they're meeting, I don't know, in some type of garden or something. And Lauren is there, Porsha comes, the cousin comes, Stormy's there, and Porsha's aunt from her father's side is there. Now, Porsha's aunt, she's an older woman, and she's been studying to be a shaman for 3 years. So the spiritual leader starts doing her thing. She's banging on her, not a drum, but I don't know what it's called. It's like a bong or something. So she starts hitting this bong thing, and they're chanting and breathing, doing these breathing exercises. And then the shaman says that, she can feel the spirits arriving. And so in Porsha's aunt's confessional, she's like, oh, we're black. And those were not spirits. Those were demons. So the aunt starts, singing this like gospel song or something, I guess, to repel the demons that she believes have entered the premises. And it was a really funny scene. And so then, so then they asked Porsha, are you going to invite Mama Gina, Dennis's mom, to the retreat? And Porsha was like, you know what? I need to think about it, because me and Gina are not on the same page on a lot of things. And so I got to think about it. So Porsha invites Mama Gina out to lunch. And when they meet, it goes south pretty quickly. So Porsha was telling her a story about little PJ, and then she was telling her something about, how she was able to handle the divorce between her parents and her grandparents' divorce. So she's trying to give this history on, because she saw, I guess, her parents like have a healthy divorce. She wants the same for her and Simon, for her and Dennis, even though they're not married and divorced, they were engaged and now they're separated. And so she really wants to keep that family unit intact for little Pilar. So the mom was like, Mama Gina, she was like, you know what, bump all that. Why did your grandmother say what she said about my son? And so Porsha was like, well, I'm glad you brought that up, because when my grandmother was expressing herself, I didn't like the tone that you used with my grandmother. You came off kind of rude to my grandmother. And the mother was like, well, your grandmother was rude. She said that my son was a womanizer. And so they're kind of going back and forth about how, Miss Gina was upset about what the grandmother said about Simon, how she thought that was really rude. And Portia's like, well, it was rude how you responded to my grandmother. My grandmother has the right to say whatever she wants. She's my grandmother, and she can express herself any way she wants. And you have to respect that. And so while they were arguing back and forth, Porsha had used some type of profanity. She said something like, it turned into a whole big ass argument or something to that effect. And Gina was like, you are not going to talk to me like that. That is very disrespectful. And so Porsha was like, but you cuss too. And Miss Gina was like, I do not cuss. When have I ever cussed? I don't cuss. And so they're going back and forth on that. And then Porsha finally apologizes. And then Miss Gina was like, everyone is always blaming my son for cheating on you, but girl, you cheated on him as well. And so in her confessional, and Porsha was like, no, I don't. I never cheated on Dennis. And Gina said, well, your mama told me that you cheated on Dennis. And Porsha said, there is no way my mother would have ever told you such a thing, because that did not happen. I never cheated on Dennis. And in her confessional, Miss Gina says that when Dennis did his thing, it was a direct reaction to Porsha cheating first. She was seeing some guy, I don't know who, maybe it was Simon. And so Simon was so butthurt about it that he went out and he did whatever he did. And that's what caused, the whole cheating scandal with Dennis. And so finally they decide just to, like, you know what, let's just agree to disagree. Okay, let me go ahead and invite you to this retreat because we all need it, and it's going to be a chance for us to restart, reset, and move forward. And so Gina accepts the invitation and she's going to go to the retreat, and that's where it ended. Oh, wow. Okay, this was a good episode. This was a really good episode. Number one, I love to see the family getting together. I love to see Porsha's family from both her mom and her dad's side. I'm glad that Dennis is included. I'm glad that the family members accept Dennis still. I'm glad that Dennis and Simon are getting along. I just love that whole dynamic, and I hope that it's going to last. And because of the fact, obviously, because of Pilar, they will always be family. And I just love that whole dynamic. I know that there are some issues and there are some cracks, but overall, I like how they can still come together and unite and celebrate Porsha's 40th birthday together the way that they did. And like I said, Simon is like super duper chill, like nothing bothers him. You put a problem in front of him and he's like, you know what, don't worry about it. We're going to solve it. We're going to fix it. And I love that about Simon. And, I'm very, very interested to see is, what's that girl's name? Fallon. I'm very interested to see if Fallon is going to have anything to do with this show, if she's going to make any kind of a appearance, a visual appearance, a voice appearance, because I really want to get Fallon's side of the story. And I don't want to have to go digging around on the internet to see how Fallon feels about this and what her side of the story is as far as why they're still not divorced yet, as of this episode or whatever. So, and also I want to see more of Simon's family, his children, his ex-wives. I want to know what's going on his side of the family. So, and when they went on Pilar's shopping spree, Dennis spent $479 just on toys for her. And I thought that was like on the low end. I thought it was going to be like $1,000 or something, because when you watch like the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, they'll go to some boutique or some store. They'll buy a couple of things. They'll fit in a bag, which is like the size of a matchbox, and it comes out to $2,000. So yeah, that was interesting. So yeah, so join me again. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will definitely be talking to you later.